Hey ghosts, welcome to my channel where I talk about anything I want because it's my channel and not yours. I stole that from Today I'm celebrating 3 years on YouTube. I started my channel making philosophy videos and minimalism videos because that's what I was into in 2020. And I'm glad I made them, but they're not on the channel anymore. I began to make videos about things that interested me, like personality tests, or cultural movements, or the gateway experience. And to commemorate 1 year on YouTube, I made a video about my journey. And then I got really bored of my answers and I made it into something abstract instead. And I kept going with cultural phenomenon like circadian rhythm, manifesting, the strangest secret. Then to commemorate 2 years, I answered questions that make people fall in love. And I think it worked. I have a lot more followers now. And for the last wee while, I've been focusing on New Age practices, astral projection, and just making videos because I'm really excited about something. And now, it has been 3 years on YouTube. And I asked you to ask me anything. So here we go. What is that skeleton pic hanging on your wall? Okay. This is a painting by Van Gogh and I am obsessed with it. Obviously this is not the original, but I went to the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam years ago and as soon as I saw it, I loved it and I bought this little postcard. Now, in Van Gogh's lifetime, smoking was not known to be bad for you, so this is not a statement about smoking. No one actually knows why he painted this, but the leading theory is that it's cool. And I have this on my phone case as well. I really love looking at it. I actually really love skeletons. I've been thinking about getting one tattooed on my leg. What do you think about the alien disclosure going on right now? That's a good question. They're all good questions, actually. What a time to be alive! We're discussing aliens as a reality, not a theory. If you don't know, recently, some former US military officials testified to the US Congress that the US government has UFOs. They are now actually called UAPs. UFOs stands for Unidentified Flying Object, whereas UAP stands for Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon. And if you've seen Nope, which is a great film by the way, you'll know that the thing in the sky may not be an object or a vehicle. It might actually be the living thing. So that's why we use UAP now. Anyway, one of the whistleblowers said that the US government possesses retrieved, intact and partially intact craft of non-human origin. We haven't seen what they're referring to and the US government has neither confirmed nor denied that this is true. And hilariously, every time I saw someone talking about this, it went something like, "Breaking news! Aliens are real!" Okay. Cool. I've got shit to do though. Apparently living through history is exhausting. Personally, I think it makes a lot of sense that there are other living beings out there. There must be conditions in another place to support life, and that life would look really different to ours. Last year, I talked about the Calvine UFO photos, which was a big deal for Scottish believers. And a pal of mine, Martin, had written a book called Unexplained Scotland, which documented different paranormal experiences in Scotland, including UAP occurrences. Round about December last year, I was reading the book and a chapter on Bonnybridge stuck out to me. Bonnybridge, a small town in the middle of Scotland, is the UFO capital of the world. It's positioned in what's called the Falkirk Triangle, which is where hundreds of UAP sightings have occurred. And I really love the lore. A lot of the reported sightings are really bizarre. And I had this idea of making the Falkirk Triangle into a TV series, and so I caught up with Martin and asked him about the research for his book. And he warned me that once you start poking about UAP stuff, weird things start happening. I'm not going to go into great detail, but he told me that the day his book was published, he was at a walk, and he was low-key followed by a suspicious vehicle that was a make of car so not present in the UK, like it's so rare. It would be bizarre to have a car like that here. And he said that a lot of people who work in investigating UAPs do have their work interrupted in strange ways. So a couple of weeks later, I invited Martin to visit Bonnybridge with me for research for my TV show, and I walked outside that morning and my tyre was flat. Luckily, I had a spare, but I just thought, this is so interesting that my UAP journey has been interrupted. But we managed to go. I took lots of pictures and I photoshopped them to help me pitch my idea. But I was a little freaked out by the experience, and that night I was actually kind of afraid to post these pictures on my own personal Google Drive. They weren't even going to go online. I just was really scared that I was going to be visited by the Men in Black. So yeah, we live in the alien age now. Do you have any favourite bands, songs, or musical genres? If so, what are the most obscure ones? This is always an interesting question for me to answer. So my dad is the bass player in a local Scottish metal band that I'm sure no one has heard of, and he's been playing bass in that band my entire life. So growing up, I listened to what my parents were listening to, which was almost exclusively rock and metal. Iron Maiden, Slipknot, Creed. I know the lyrics to a lot of Creed songs. Foo Fighters, which I appreciate are one of the most well-known bands in the world and not niche at all, are one of the bands from my childhood that I've always listened to throughout my life, and I still love them now. I also played the cornet in a brass band from the age of 9 to 19. This is not a marching band kind of scenario. UK brass bands are not tassels and pizzazz. This was a colliery band, where after a shift in the mines, the local people would come together and play slow, depressing tunes. But through this, I learned to read music, I learned to appreciate ensembles, and I developed stage fright for the rest of my life. I had a Nirvana phase in 2005, which is a really strange time to be getting into them. But as I got older, I began to branch out a bit more. When I was 24, I had a car that didn't have Bluetooth or anything like that, so I just had to rely on the radio. And it was through commuting to work and listening to the radio that I realised that other genres of music are actually quite fun and interesting, and that you can enjoy music for many, many reasons. Scottish artists that I like include Camera Obscura, Paolo Nutini, King Crusoe. So I still listen to rock. I'm into Wet Leg at the moment, Wolf Alice, Maneskin, Pink Floyd, who I know are not new, but they're on my rotation at the moment. I also really like Frank Ocean and Tyler the Creator, who are influences for my brothers. And I never thought that I would be into that style of music, but I really resonate with the emotion in their songs. Wonder if you look both ways when you cross my mind. But the most obscure song on my Spotify is So Much Better by Evan Olsen. There's a great story behind this song that I'll link to in the description, because basically it was lost media that was found. And it's just such a satisfying journey. And then also the song is really fun. Hi Ash, you've told in a previous video that film television was your family's main form of entertainment. So I'd love to know what films and series do you specifically like have influenced you in your work. So I know that my sense of humour and a lot of my personality is rooted in The Simpsons. In my childhood, I was soaking up The Simpsons like a sponge. My parents really liked 60s and 70s films like The Warriors, Bruce Lee films, Jason and the Argonauts. Maybe that's why I like skeletons. Maybe that's why I like animation. The first thing I ever created on camera was a magic show. I discovered that if I paused the tape and then left the shot and then hit record again, it would make it look like I'd disappeared. And that is the same animation technique that would have been used in Jason and the Argonauts. My mum told me that she came home one night when I was about 4 or 5, and me and my dad were watching Mortal Kombat. She was like, I don't think that's appropriate for kids. My parents were very relaxed about what we were watching growing up. I was only 8 years old in 1999, but I saw The Matrix when it was out. And I remember watching Kill Bill Volume 1 when I was about 11 or 12. Kill Bill did really inspire me in a storytelling sense, but fortunately for everyone, I didn't become one of those film students that paid homage to Tarantino. But every single class has one. When I was at college, I saw Maya Deren's Meshes of the Afternoon, and it immediately struck me. I just felt like I could watch it all day. I loved the flow of the story and the mystery and the climax. When I watch it, it makes me feel at peace, which is really strange because it's quite scary. But I've always liked a practical effect, some camera trickery, and I'm really glad that they've made a reappearance in movies this summer. Have you ever looked into the Law of One material? It's definitely been helpful in my own esoteric consciousness journey. Then a side note, if you would consider doing a full video dedicated to remote viewing and trying it yourself. I have not looked up the Law of One, so let's do it now. The Law of One material is a series of 106 conversations called sessions between Don Elkins, a professor of physics and UFO investigator, and Ra, speaking through Carla Ruckert. All things are one, that there is no polarity, no right or wrong, no disharmony, but only identity. Oh, I will definitely do a video on that. This year I've tried to focus more on these niche, unusual practices that you don't hear of very often. First of all, I really enjoy making these videos, and second of all, I found the whole practice to be quite meditative and soothing. And sometimes you learn things about yourself. So yeah, this is on my list now. So thanks for celebrating 3 years on YouTube with me. Thanks to everyone who sent in a question, and thanks honestly to everyone who is watching right now. This is my best life. I enjoy making videos for my YouTube channel so much. I know I don't upload super consistently, such is the life of a freelancer. You can tell when I don't have work because I start uploading a lot of videos. But I have loads of interesting topics in the pipeline, and I really love the suggestions and the community spirit. So thanks, ghosts. Here's to many more years. See you next time.